This cat kept kidnapping the neighbor's puppies. Then they discovered the jaw-dropping reason why. When one woman saw a cat with a little puppy in her mouth, she immediately thought the worst. However, as she watched, she realized that the animal was stealing the baby and taking it home. What's more, the reason was completely heartwarming. In Maysville, South Carolina, a group of neighbors had grown concerned about a local cat. Moreover, it seemed that they had good reason to be worried. That's because each day the cat would run across the trailer park in which she lived and grab a puppy with her teeth. We came home one night and there were 5 puppies missing. The dog's worried owner, Missy Grant, told It's a Miracle in 2001. I said, "Where did 5 puppies go?" I was hunting them, and then my neighbor said she saw Miss Kitty stealing them. Indeed, while their mother wasn't looking, the cat had snatched the puppies away from their home and dragged them into a trailer. Now that the pups were hidden from public view, no one would know what she was doing with the innocent little lives. Things were not quite as they seemed, though. While Miss Kitty the cat and her canine neighbor Smoochie had lived together for some time, they largely kept themselves to themselves. But while they hadn't mixed much with each other up until that point, one day their lives were inextricably interwoven. The owners of Miss Kitty had discovered that the ginger cat was pregnant, and so they helped to prepare her for becoming a mother. Yes, the fluffy cat couldn't wait to welcome her kittens into her world. That's when disaster struck. After she gave birth, Miss Kitty sadly lost every one of her kittens, and as you'd expect, the traumatic ordeal left the cat completely distraught. Of course, it isn't unusual for cats to lose a small percentage of their litter, but for first-time moms such as Miss Kitty, kitten mortality rates are even higher. There are indeed a number of reasons why kittens may not survive. Nevertheless, Miss Kitty's world was shattered by the deaths of her babies. The crestfallen cat was completely lost in her grief, and her maternal instincts had already kicked in. Her sole purpose in life was to be a mom, but unfortunately fate had other ideas. However, something incredible was about to happen. Around the same time as Miss Kitty's kittens died, Smoochie gave birth to a litter of adorable Cocker Spaniel puppies. Much to the dismay of Miss Kitty, though, the dog had no interest in her own babies. Smoochie didn't want anything to do with the puppies at all. Miss Kitty and Smoochie's owner, Ryan Grant, told It's a Miracle. They'd be lying around at Smoochie's house outside. She would just drag them around with a chain and pay them no attention. Even their whines didn't mean anything to her. As with cats, it's not uncommon for dogs to reject their litters. Moreover, there are many reasons why they may do so, from puppies being too weak to a mother being too inexperienced. In addition, dogs may simply decide that they've given birth to more puppies than they could look after. Whatever Smoochie's reasons, though, she didn't want anything to do with her little ones. However, thankfully, the puppies had an adoptive mother waiting in the wings. Indeed, having noticed what was going on, Miss Kitty decided to take matters into her own paws. That's when she began stealing the puppies. But her intentions were far from sinister. Instead, she'd take them somewhere quiet and nurse them. Yes, thanks to Miss Kitty and her leftover milk, the little dogs received all the nutrients they needed. What's more, this isn't the first time that cats have been known to nurse baby dogs. In fact, one shelter in LaGrange, Georgia, has specifically used cats that have recently given birth to feed orphan puppies. Since the 2 cats just had litters, they're able to nurse, shelter supervisor Chris Bussey told the Huffington Post in 2016. It's like a motherly instinct. The Grant's neighbor, Linda Blackwell, admitted the whole setup was odd. However, she added that the cat was simply fulfilling her motherly duties. The mom don't see the kids too much, so the cat took over, she said. Moreover, Smoochie was happy to step aside and let Miss Kitty take over. In fact, the pooch had something of a naughty side, which meant that her owners sometimes had to tie her up to stop her from getting into mischief. Everything seemed to have worked out well. Nonetheless, their owners couldn't help wondering how the puppies would react when they opened their eyes to discover that their mom was a cat. It was their hope that the bond would disprove that cats and dogs are natural enemies once and for all. What's more, Miss Kitty's good deeds didn't end there. After seeing the cat and her adoptive pups on television, one viewer got in touch about 2 abandoned kittens. As a result, Kitty's owner agreed to take them on so the cat could feed them too. So, although Miss Kitty missed out on caring for her own litter, she still became a mom. And if it hadn't been for her intervention, there's no way of knowing whether the puppies would have survived. Indeed, not only did Miss Kitty give them food, but in some ways she gave them life as well.